Welcome back to Tactical Foul. This is really quick that we're doing episodes back to back because, well, we did our Copa America episode. If you haven't watched that, it was a great time. Go and watch that. And so we're talking about the Euros, and the Euros have already started. So we're a little bit behind there. That's on me. I thought the Euros started later, and I missed the whole first day of matches, like watching them live. So I had to watch them after the fact. But that's besides the point. We're talking about the Euros. Now, that is my good friend Kevin. Kevin, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. I didn't have a I didn't have a shirt for this, so I just decided to wear my Barcelona shirt because
Bro, I'm in a
first
Spurs
off,
hoodie.
I really I like Spain. Out of all the teams there, Spain is my favorite team in the Euros. So I figured it'd be appropriate to wear my Barcelona shirt to represent Spain
So are you
in this
saying
conversation.
let's just hop right in.
But
So
I
are
don't
you
have
saying
them.
that
I don't
you
have them as favorites.
There's my
I don't have
that
them
was
as
gonna be my
favorites.
question.
I don't have them as
You're
favorites.
just
but
fans of
that's
Spain.
my favorite.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
my personal favorite. Out of the competition, we talking favorites. That's not who I think is the favorite.
That's a good see, like I feel the same way about Germany. Germany is my favorite team this tournament.
Right.
They are not the favorites in my eyes. I really like what Germany has
Which
done.
is crazy because I actually think they're the favorites. In my
Really?
Yeah.
Is it okay? Let me ask you this question: Is it because of the opening game? Is it because of the 5-1 over Scotland, or is it?
Okay, the 5-1 over Scotland was definitely a statement in my opinion, but that's not just why. I do feel like they're well-rounded overall. They've got a great squad, they've got a good coach, and Germany are they're aggressive. They've always been an aggressive team. You can never. And I think that right now, especially where they're finding their form, new players are starting to come up. I just see them as favorites, and it's easy to say. I feel like in the beginning, me and you both were like France, 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 but I don't know. Taking another look at it, man, I just thought, why not? Why not Germany? I just feel like they've got it, man. They got a good rounded squad with older players, with younger players, and the coach, and just looking at their form overall. I like Germany. They've overcome France, I think, in a few friendlies not too long ago.
I
They
think
beat them last year. They beat them last year, and I think they're better than France, personally.
I don't think that because I just don't think that they're better than that French team. But I will say this because I do agree with you. Germany is fully loaded. Like, because if you were to tell me, hey, Germany is 100% going to win, I'm not surprised by it, like, all that much. It makes sense, right? Like, Tony Cruz comes back out of retirement, is playing as a holding midfielder, so they're not really asking him to run a lot. And then you've got Gundogan playing in a better role for him, which is a little bit farther up the field, supporting in the attack, doing a little bit more of what he kind of currently does at Barcelona, which is great. And then your front three of Wirtz, Musiala, and Havertz is just a ton of talent and things like that, not including the fact that you have Thomas Muller, the world's best super sub, coming off of the bench whenever you need him. Fulkrug coming in if Havertz's speed isn't doing well and you need someone to sit up there and hold up play, you've got the perfect pivot, and Leroy Sané's on the bench.
And just look at their defense, man. And this is a big reason why I felt like they're huge contenders, in my opinion. Because, I mean, Ta and Rudiger, the two right now, I feel like. Ta and Rudiger right now, I think I can say this with no controversy. They're the best two center backs, I think, right now in Europe. Right now.
As a pair, or the, like, center back one, center back two?
They haven't played too much together, but center back one, center back, like one in one team and one in the other. I mean, look at how Todd did with Leverkusen, man. I mean,
I'm not disagreeing.
Really well.
I'm just
Rudiger
saying, as
with Madrid.
1 and 2, I find that hard to believe, just because, like, Saliba exists. As a pair, they might be the best pair in the tournament.
Okay, you're right.
You know what I mean? But like the best as individuals, I don't know, because like Saliba exists and he's at the tournament.
No, you're right.
And I'm not going to put, I love Tony Rudiger,
100%.
but I'm not going to put him over Saliba, who just so happens to be French.
But the pair to have them to one of the Ta is still up there with the best in Europe, right?
Totally agree. Yeah.
Not better than Saliba by any means, but definitely one of the best in Europe, and he definitely showed it this season with Leverkusen. And to have him paired with Rudiger, who's just obviously another one of the best, I don't know, man. It looks great. It looks great.
You're not wrong. Like, the more I look at this team and watching that Scotland game, like, dude, when you have Thomas Muller, Fulkrug, Gross, Sane, Chan coming off of the bench, like, because those were the subs that they had. They were able to pull out. They pulled out Kroos. They pulled out Kroos, Andrić, Musiala, Wirtz, and Havertz, and they replaced them with Gross, Fulkrug, Muller, Sane, and Chan. Like, dude, when Emre Can is coming off of your bench as a holding midfielder, Emre Can, I think, last year was one of the best, if not the best, holding midfielders in the world. And, like, the role that he was the unsung hero of that Dortmund team last year, in my opinion. Yeah. He was so freaking good. And he's coming off of your bench. Leroy Sané coming off of your bench. Muller coming off. Like, it's just, I get what you're saying. And I really like Germany, like, a lot. I think that they are an incredible, like, unit overall. It's 100%. Just, 100%. Like, it's the Euros. That's it. Yeah. It's, what are you going to do when it comes down to the bracket? And this is why I keep France as my favorites, because I think that they should be. I think that they should be, because when you talk about a team like France, these guys have been together. These guys have won a World Cup together. These guys have already won a Euro together. They know how it is to win. And here's the key. They're healthy. For the World Cup last year, they were hurt. Not last year. 2 years ago, like, they were hurt. And they're not dealing with that anymore. Now,
here's something that I want to take away from France, though, that I will talk about. I mean, just looking at their game against Canada right now, and I didn't watch it. I'm just looking right now at the stats. I'm not very impressed, man. I'm not very impressed by them. And so that's one thing that I am iffy about. I mean, just looking at even the possession, the shots, for it to have been a 0-0, and with the players that they had up there, just, I don't know. But
Kylian's not.
It was
playing.
Kylian didn't.
It's a friendly, like, at its core, and I think that
100%.
Like, I totally get what you're saying.
I'm not trying to give it like more importance than it is. I'm just trying to see like their recent results to see how they're gonna come into this competition. But I don't see something solid from them yet. Whereas like Spain, you know, we saw them even just the opening match, and the matches before then were really good from Spain and Germany. And
I think too, though, that one of the things that I think isn't getting enough attention is that Deschamps, who's the manager of France, has been fiddling with that lineup so much, from playing a 4-3-3 to playing a 3-4-3 to playing a 4-2-3-1. Like, he is really fiddling with how that team is playing. And you know what that tells me? It tells me that he's so confident that when they get to the Euro, that they're going to play in their traditional, let's call it a 4-3-3, right? When they show up and they play in the 4-3-3, he's so confident that his players know how to do that, that he's making them play in situations that aren't what they would normally do. You know, going in and playing, like, I think a great example of this is, obviously it's a Luxembourg game. So, like, it's Luxembourg, right? But he goes into that game playing a 4-3-2-1 or a 3-4-3. I'm sorry. He comes in playing a 3-4-3. So they come in and they play three in the back with two wing backs. And you could tell, like, what they're trying to do. Oh, We're trying
Yeah.
to see what this team would look like.
Different game.
What if we have to defend? What if we have to drop guys into the box? And they were still able to go out there and score, and to do those things. They're just testing it out. But also, I think like when you look at that roster, it's hard not to fall in love with the names on that roster, and to sit here and go Mendy, Upamecano, Saliba, Koundé, Theo Hernandez,
100%,
Konate, Camavinga, Griezmann, Tchouaméni. N'Golo Kante, I think, is still incredible, even at 33 and playing in Saudi Arabia. But like Rabiot,
N'Golo
Fofana,
Kante's still N'Golo
Giroud,
Kante.
Mbappe, Dembele, Thuram, Coman. Like
They've got a well-rounded squad. The reason why I don't have them as favorites, just because I don't know, me looking at their last few results and their last few games, just their form overall to me isn't very impressive. And I don't know. I mean, Griezmann, I don't know if I'd put Griezmann up there. He's great.
he's not starting for them, I don't think. I don't think he starts on that team. I think your front three.
Who do you think starts? Dembele?
Yeah, you're probably starting
Dembele.
Dembele because he had a phenomenal year for PSG. Was arguably
No.
their
Dembele, as much as I hate him because of, external reasons.
But again, he's probably one of the best
right.
players. Like
100%.
Giroud playing there as a big target man, even at his age, is still probably a great option. But like, you don't have to play Giroud there. You can very easily do, and they've done this already, and they've done this before, where you just put, Mbappe up there, and then you can play Thuram on the other wing. And so like they have, like, you can play Colomani on the other wing. Like they have so much. You can play Coman on the other wing. Like there's so many options that they have that even though you have a 37-year-old Olivier Giroud, and then you have a 30-year-old, is it?
Yeah.
Right? 33-year-old Antoine Griezmann.
Here's what doesn't impress me by France, though. Their midfield, it's kind of like the same as Brazil's. I feel like they've got a very great defense.
Tchouaméni and Camavinga, Kante, Rabiot, Fofana, Zaire Emery. Maybe
Are
not
they-
Zaire
are
Emery.
they
He's 18.
great? Are they great?
Yeah.
Are they
Camavinga
they're
and
good?
Tchouaméni just won a Champions League. Tchouaméni was on the bench because he was hurt, but he was just part of one of the best campaigns in all of Europe this year as a key player, playing out of position as a center back. Yeah, just because you don't like Real Madrid doesn't take away from
No. It's
the-
not even about. It's not even about me not liking Real Madrid. That has nothing to do with it. I just feel like comparative to other midfielders, other midfield and other teams.
I think that they
They
stack
don't
up
impress
with
me as much.
any of them. Name a midfield trio in the tournament, and I think that they stack up with any of them. Like, I think straight up a midfield of Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Kante. That's it. Just the trio. Double pivot Camavinga, Tchouaméni, with Kante playing that box-to-box creator because he still has that ability to do so. Right there alone is better than what most teams have. Now, if you wanted to play four midfielders, let us not forget that Antoine Griezmann this year played as an attacking midfielder for a good chunk of the year.
Right.
So you can consider him in that midfield.
Okay, the midfield comparative to their attack and defense, it's not the same.
Well, of course not. You've got the best center back in the world in Saliba in the back there, and then you have the best forward in the world, like in Mbappe. Of course not. They don't have the best midfielder in the world, but that doesn't mean that they don't have world-class midfielders.
No, I'm not saying they don't, but I don't know, man. To me, I'm not impressed too much by their midfield. I wouldn't worry too much about their midfield, and it shows it. And like even the game against Canada, I mean, just the fact that they couldn't really control that game, they had trouble. And again, it's just a friendly, so I'm not defining Spain as a whole because of one result, right?
But again, they're playing. You have to remember,
I'm not disagreeing.
Their 4-3-3.
Look,
they're playing different formations. They're doing different things.
I'm not disagreeing. Listen, I'm not disagreeing that France has possibly the best team in the Euros. They're definitely a favorite, but they're not my favorite. They're not who I believe is the favorite.
I get it. I understand not having them as the favorite. It is the Euros, after all. There are so many good teams, and we'll get into them. We'll keep going.
Yes.
That's why we're spending not as much time as we did with the Copa America, because there's The Copa America doesn't have as many teams. There's so many teams that we need to talk about when it comes to this Euro that we're not going to sit here and spend 30 minutes talking about France. But the thing that, like, I understand the love for Germany. If you would have come in and said England, totally would have understood that too. Like, I get what you're saying when it comes to that.
I think that.
But to come in and say that you don't find the midfield group impressive.
Okay, but I think you misunderstood
that I think
me.
is false.
I think what you misunderstood. Well, I don't find them as impressive
as what other midfield group?
As one other midfielders. I think even England has a better midfield. England, I think Spain even has a better midfield than them comparatively, and Germany as well. I don't like the midfield.
Rodri,
as a
Ruiz,
whole.
Pedri is better than right now Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Kante. That I don't see that at all.
Yes,
because you have Champions League winners on one.
Conte. Hold on. Conte is not. He's a guy defensively very good. But is he a guy that's going to control the game? Is he a holding midfielder? No, he's not.
He can run forward.
He doesn't make the. Hold on. He doesn't make the passes that Rodri will make. He will not make the passes that Rodri. You cannot compare Conte to Rodri, especially not right now.
Well, that's not the comparable player.
Okay,
that's not
who compares to Rodri.
Camavinga. Put Camavinga, who's the starting midfielder, is right now just as good as Rodri. He's had a better season. He won a Champions League. They dominated. Real Madrid dominated Barcelona. Every opportunity that they had this year was Rodri. Not Rodri. I'm sorry. I'm confusing Pedri and Rodri. That's on me. If you're comparing Rodri with a center midfield, a center defensive midfielder, it's Tchouaméni. And Tchouaméni played center back this year. Because we were so depleted at Real Madrid. Yes, they are absolutely comparable because he gave up his body and mind and soul to do that. And then also, this is the trap that I think people fall into. Do not take Manchester City players and expect them to play at that same level outside of Manchester City. They don't. Rodri is a product of the system.
Rodri is an amazing player. Doesn't matter. Rodri, no, he's not. Rodri is an amazing player.
Was Rodri this good at Atletico Madrid?
So is Fabian Ruiz.
Was he? Answer the question.
Midfielders.
Hey, they are. That's not what I'm saying. Was Rodri this good at Atletico Madrid?
He wasn't as experienced as he is now.
Or did he go into a Manchester City team that limited his role and and Pep just said, this is how you're going to play.
How did it limit his role when he scored in a Champions League final? That doesn't limit his role.
What part of limiting his role says he can't score goals?
He's a holding midfielder.
So?
He's not supposed to score goals.
Casemiro scored goals as a holding midfielder.
Busquets hardly ever scored goals.
Yeah, but he still scored goals. Hardly ever not scoring.
Not in a Champions League final.
Yeah, but when Man City plays with possession in your half, not in your half. When Man City plays with your in your third, that's how they play. So his holding is at the top of the box.
When Man City won the Champions League, he was their best player.
Yeah.
He was their best player. The player of a system that was limited, that you're saying was limited, and it was just a player of a system. You're trying to say you're
allowed to put players in a system and have them shine. Is Haaland the best striker in the world, or is he the best striker that Man City was able to produce? That's the question. If you took Haaland outside of Man City and put him on another team playing a different system, does he score 60 goals? Does he score 60 goals?
He scored goals at Borussia Dortmund.
Did he score 60 goals? He
scored many goals.
Did he score 60? Did he have a record-breaking year that should have won him a Ballon d'Or? No. Like, that's the thing. You're allowed... It's the Phil Foden argument. Is Phil Foden any good outside of Man City?
Who is Camavinga to you that you think he's better than Rodri?
I didn't say Camavinga. I mistook Camavinga. When you said Rodri, I heard Pedri. That's wrong. Okay. That's on me. But Rodri and Tchouaméni, are at that same level. Rodri just plays a more
Rodri?
Yes, dude. What
no,
was
you're
Rodri
tripping,
outside
bro.
of Man City?
No.
Why are we falling
You're
for the trap
wilding.
of
You're
players who play
wilding.
well at Man City?
No, dude. No.
Stop thinking that
Absolutely
players
not.
coached by Pep
No.
Guardiola are world-class players.
No, it's
he has
not.
two. He has two world-class players, in my opinion. Pep Guardiola, two. Kevin De Bruyne.
You're tripping if you really
That's
don't
it,
think
actually.
Rodri's a world-class pep. You're tripping if you
Dude,
don't think Rodri's a world-class
outside
midfielder.
of Man City, what has he accomplished? As a player, as an individual, not playing in that Man City system, not playing in a system that's designed for his skill set. Pep Guardiola is
I'd
the
have to
master tactician. That's the point. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Spain. Spain is an excellent team. Pedri, great midfielder. Rodri, great midfielder. But to say that Rodri is head and shoulders better than, let's say, a Tchouaméni or a Kanté or a, like, dude, those guys have more trophies. Like, Rodri has won a bunch in the Premier League.
He won with that, and just to let you know, he did win trophies with Atletico Madrid. Just so
Like
you
what?
know.
Like Copa del Rey's?
Oh, UEFA Super Cup.
Oh man.
UEFA
you won a
Cup ain't
Super
nothing to
Cup.
you?
Oh,
It's still a trophy. You can't say he didn't win it.
oh, he won a Super
He
Cup.
also won many U19s, U21s. He was only in Atletico Madrid. How long was he in Atletico Madrid? He was in Villarreal before. You can't expect him to win anything in Villarreal. He was in Atletico Madrid for one season and won a Super Cup, and then went to Man City and became one of the best holding midfielders we've seen since Sergio Busquets.
Yes, but the question still has to be asked, what was he before? And is he a product of the system? And I'm not trying to say that he and everything points to he is, because the performances that he gives for Spain are not the same as the performances that he gives for Manchester City.
Have you watched
It's the same
Spain?
thing. Yes,
Have you
I
watched
have.
them enough?
He is good at Spain. He's not the Rodri of Man City. And none of those Man City players, when they leave, are that good. Like, at all. That's what Pep does. You don't go to a Pep Guardiola system and play your style. You go to a Pep Guardiola system and you play his style. You play how he tells you. And that's the thing that I think that you're not taking at face value. It's like John Stones. Is John Stones one of the best center backs in the world, or does he play excellently in the Manchester City system? And that's the point. When he gets to England, John Stones is not as good as he is at City, and that's because he's asked to do different things and he can't. So that's my point. You see it time and time and time again with Pep Guardiola teams.
Rodri is, bro, for him to have gotten, I mean, let's look at even his individual trophies, Marlon. He was the Champions League player of the season when they won the Champions League, when Man City won he was the player of the season. He made team of the season, player of the season.
Yep.
He
played his role that Pep Guardiola created for him excellently. Next.
Dude,
give me a performance that's not at Man City.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
give me
not.
a performance that's not at Man City.
No, dude. You're demeriting. Demeriting somebody's season because of a system.
Yes.
Dude, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
No, and it's not.
That's
I'm not trying to.
ridiculous.
He is an
It's
excellent player for Man City.
It's like saying Xavi and Iniesta weren't fucking great because they played under Pep Guardiola's system.
You know what the argument is? Pep left. Were they still excellent? Were they still great? Did they still win trophies after they had?
I guarantee you, if when Pep leaves, Rodri's still going to be great.
I doubt it. He hasn't shown it yet. He hasn't shown that yet. Before Man City, he wasn't winning anything. Gets to Man City, and let's be clear, winning the Premier League at Man City, something that they were doing before he got there, something that they're going to keep doing after he leaves, as long as Pep is there, is not an impressive.
The argument isn't, oh, he's a system player. The argument is he's finally in a team where he plays at his best.
Because of the system.
You're not going to be able to play the way that Rodri plays in Atletico Madrid.
Why not?
Atletico Madrid's not going to allow that.
Why not? They're a defensive team. They're a defensive team. He should highlight as a defensive midfielder.
No. I think that
they play with 5 center backs and 2 CDMs.
No. I think you're completely off on saying that he's just a system player and that he has not shown as good as he actually is.
He has not shown that he's not. That's the key. If he's not a system player, where is he? Where is he as the player that you say that he is? Where is he in Spain? Why weren't we talking about Rodri as one of the best CDMs when he was at Atletico Madrid? Because I think you're also discounting how good Atletico Madrid is.
He was at Atletico Madrid for 1 season, bro. 1 season. How's he going to prove anything in 1 season with one team in 1 season? He didn't even win, I think, in his first couple seasons for Man City, and he's a system player. No, dude, you're not making any sense. Yes, now he's found his form. Now he's gained experience. Now he's much better. And he's definitely proven himself now as one of the best holding midfielders that we've seen since Busquets. That's just facts, bro. That's just a fact. It's not
because what you're doing is you're saying his time at City is so impressive that you're going
very impressive.
Absolutely. But he hasn't done anything outside of City. That's
your only argument. That's your only argument.
Yes, but it's not. But you're downplaying it as an argument.
You're taking out all of the individual awards. The fact that he scored on the Champions League final. The fact that he's done so well under City and recently. Yet, if he was just a system player and that was the only reason, then he would have won more trophies season after season. But it's not. He recently, in the last 2 seasons, has shown up as one of the best holding midfielders we've seen since Sergio Busquets. I'm going to reiterate that.
For City. There's the key part. If you're not doing it outside of your club team that is built for you, then you're not doing it enough. And that is the point. I think you're discounting. I think you're discounting the fact that
you're discounting the fact that he's a great midfielder, and you're only discounting it because
I never said he was bad. You're taking it as me saying
he's not world class.
He's not. He's one of the best midfielders at Manchester City, and winning the Premier League with Manchester City is not an accomplishment. It's like winning La Liga with PSG. It's not an accomplishment. You don't put that on your trophy resume. Man City was winning before him. They're probably going to keep on winning after him. It is more Pep than it is him. Right? They won the year before he got there. They kept winning. They won the year he got there. Then they lost because of the Liverpool, and then they won the last 4 in a row. And I'm not going to sit here and say that he's not a key player for Manchester City. He is. But being a key player
for Spain, he's a key player for Spain.
But he is objectively not as good on Spain as he is on City. That's the point that I'm making. Rodri at City is a world-class player, and it's because of City. It's the same argument that you could make and should make about Jude Bellingham. It is 1 year at Real Madrid. Can we relax with this best midfielder in the world conversation? I love Jude.
You were just talking about him being a Ballon d'Or.
Well, yes, because the Ballon d'Or is an individual award for a season. Winning a Ballon d'Or, you can have a singular excellent season and win a Ballon d'Or. It doesn't make you the best you are conflating two things. He had an excellent 1 year. Let's give it another year. It's like saying, this is a perfect example. It's like saying Xabi Alonso is the best manager in the world because he almost went undefeated this year in all competitions. Can we relax? It's 1 year. It's an incredible year.
Right.
But let's relax. It's 1 year.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. But I don't know, man. I completely disagree there. And I feel like we're going to stay stuck on this topic forever.
But again, Spain is a great team. I'm not going to sit here and say that they're not. But the problem that I have with the Spain team is I don't love them defensively. Just being honest. I love Carvajal, but Carvajal's old. The fact that you haven't found I want a replacement for Carvajal.
That's a fair statement.
I want a replacement for Carvajal at Real Madrid. Even though he won the game-winning goal, and he was arguably our best player, that doesn't mean that a 32-year-old right back is what you want, right? You should be able to find a better option there. Nacho is the starting center back at 34 years old. And again, Nacho, on a fully healthy Real Madrid, probably doesn't start. And I love Nacho and the 10 plus years, because he's a La Fabrica product, is like just incredible, and I love it. But if he's a starting midfielder for, center back for you, that's a little bit of a concern. Lenormand is good, but I wouldn't put him on that same level as some of these best center backs in the world. Cucurella has absolutely been dominating every opportunity that he's been apt to. So I'm going to give it to you there. I'm not going to say that a Man City player is going to be I'm not going to do it. Man City players outside of Man City, yeah, you might be great, but like you're just not as good as you are at Man City. Just clearly how it is. And so Rodri, while great, is not better than any other holding midfielder at the tournament, in my opinion, because of the system that he plays, because of the where it's the same kind of concern I'm going to have with Declan Rice at England, because Arteta is a mini Pep. And so and then it's Nico Williams and Yamal, Alvaro Morata, because that's who they started. That's who their front three is: Yamal, Morata, and Nico Williams. Is that
right? It's subpar. It's subpar.
And that's my point. Teams. I love Spain.
Which is fine.
I love Spain. I love that team, but it's a subpar
fine for you to
team.
have that opinion.
It's just a subpar team, and I love Spain, and I think that they're going to go far. But I want to talk about, since we just spent the whole time on Spain, I think we have to talk about a team that I think is really good, and I think has an opportunity to do some wild stuff, and that's Portugal. Hence, if you couldn't tell the colors, red and green.
Yeah, Portugal.
I think Portugal, watch out for Portugal, because I think that they have an opportunity to really,
sell me on this idea.
I think Portugal is a team that is right now built so incredibly well. Like from top to bottom, they are built so incredibly well. And so let's just go through their team, right? I think that if you're looking at their defensing in goal, they've been playing Diego Costa. He's their best option. Let's just be very clear there. He's their best option. I don't love their fullback pairings. And, Nuno Mendes is really young and really good and exciting for the future. But Nelson Semedo's playing on the other side. That's something that I'm a little bit concerned about. But I think a midfield... And, let's not forget, they have Joao Cancelo on the bench. And I think you and I both agree that he's not all that good of a player, right? That's why he doesn't have a team. That's why nobody wants him. Everybody's trying to, just loan him out everywhere. It's nah, we don't want him. Do you want him? We'll pay him. It's free to play on your team.
We'll take him, but we don't want to pay. Barcelona's yeah, we'll take him, but
you're
I don't
paying.
know how much we're gonna pay.
You're paying 60% of that salary. But I do think that Ruben Diaz, Dalot, Inacio, Mendes, even Pepe at 41, I think they've got a good rotation back there. But I think their core. Well, let me go through it. Let me make this. Let me make the pitch.
Okay.
I think Ruben Diaz, Nuno Mendes, and I think Inacio is good enough for you to be okay, that's a solid defensive unit. Here's where I think they go absolutely insane, and it's in the midfield. You go Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Ruben Neves, Vitinha, Pedro Neto.
I like Vitinha.
I like Vitinha as well. The old aging Danilo, João Palhinha. That's a loaded midfield group.
Pedro Neto's their forward, but they do have.
He plays as a
Danilo.
He plays as a 10. He plays as a 10.
Their midfielders do look good. Palhinha, I like. Vitinha, I like.
And then let's get to the forward group.
Bernardo Silva and Fernandes.
Bro, if you tell me, if you go
midfield,
if you just go into the group, Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, and then Vitinha, that's your midfield trio.
Can we agree? Can we agree that this midfield definitely does beat France's?
No.
Can we agree there?
No.
Come on, man. How you gonna tell me now?
Well, because Bernardo Silva's a Man City player.
You got Bernardo's
Man City player.
Here we go again, man.
Man City player.
You really demerit any
Yes, do it outside of Man City.
A beast.
Do it outside of Man City.
Okay, even take out Bernardo Silva, Vitinha, Bruno Fernandes,
Yep.
and Palinha, and Danilo Pereira.
Yeah, but he's 31. 32,
Yeah, but
32,
Danilo
32.
Pereira's still, bro. I hate when you tell me, oh, once they're 30, they're washed.
That's not what I said. I'm just
But you
saying,
have
like,
said
in a
that.
midfield. I have not said that because I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But I do think that once you're on the backside of 30, you start losing your legs. That's a fact. You're just not going to be as fast. And I think in the midfield is where you get hit with that the most, is like when you start losing your legs out from under you. And like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Danilo. And again, I love this Portugal team, but like being over 30 in the midfield, I think is way more important than being over 30 in a forward group when you don't have to track back, you know, or in defense when you don't need to track forward. Like that's why Pepe can still play at 41 because he's not like just playing your own box. That's it. We're not going to ask you to run 90 minutes because you don't have to. Just karate chop a guy in the neck once every couple of games so that people are scared of Portugal. But again, like get to the front part of this team. You've got Goncalo Ramos, who I think has been playing excellently. He is part of the future for Portugal. Joao Felix, who I think is a really good super sub for this team. I'm disappointed with how his development has gone, and I hope that he can find form. Maybe not at Barcelona because I don't like Barcelona having good players. But like Rafael Leao has been a revelation for AC Milan these last couple of years. Diogo Jota has been one of the best super subs for Liverpool all year. Cristiano Ronaldo at 39 is still doing it. You know, he's not being asked to do
much in a shitty league though.
No. I'm not talking about like Saudi Arabia or anything. What I'm saying is like even for Portugal, like he's still giving them the performances that he needs to. And I'm not trying to say he's 39, but like what I'm saying is he's evolved his role for Portugal. He's not the focus anymore. You know who I think the focus of that team is? Bruno Fernandes. He's the engine of that team, and I think that's the whole point. But my thing is like even without Cristiano up there in that front three, I think that if you were to tell me Joao Felix, Goncalo Ramos, and Rafael Leao, or even if you put Felix out and you put Jota in, I think that's a really good forward unit. Or like if you want to put Neto up there as a forward, because they do that sometimes, like I think that's still a really good forward group. And so I watch out for Portugal is all I'm saying, because I think that they're a team that are built to beat anybody. Like, because if you want to play a defensive game, they can do it. You want to score goals, they can do it. You want to play possession, they can do it. I think they're very interesting. And while we wait for him to come back, I do think that even with all of the stuff that's going on, with like Cristiano Ronaldo performing at a subpar league, I still think he's Cristiano Ronaldo.
I'm pretty sold on what you've said so far. Here's my problem with Portugal. I'm not their defense doesn't all the way convince me. The best defender there easily is Ruben Dias. Mm-hmm. Joao Cancelo is very iffy. Nelson Semedo's very iffy. Diago Dallo is also very iffy.
I like Dallo.
Pepe's old as shit.
Yeah, but they're not starting. He's not starting.
That's my all right. But
remember, like of the guys that you mentioned, the guys that start is Dallo as a right back because he's playing over Joao Cancelo. Yes. And I totally get not. I think I like him.
I still don't. He doesn't.
But he's not great.
Me. No,
totally get that.
Joao Cancelo's awful. I mean, he's not awful. He's
no,
good,
he is.
But
no, he's awful. But he's not starting. He's on the bench.
No, he's not.
He is.
I highly doubt it. I highly doubt he'll be on the bench.
Who is he starting over?
Likely.
Dallo's playing right back. He's not playing over Dallo.
He started in their last game. Yeah, he started in their last game. Dallo started, and Pepe started as well.
Yeah, but look at the rest of the team. They started, but it's not their. That's not their. They were playing a 3-4. They were playing a 3-4-1-2. He was playing as a wing back.
Even then, dude. That like Ruben Dias is easily the best player. Okay, and then let me say, Ruben Dias. Let's not forget is a City player.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally
he's
agree.
A City player, so he's obviously not good because he's.
That's not what I said about City players at all. What I said is that if you're
Nope.
What I have always said, and I will continue to say, is that if you're a world-class player at City, prove it outside of City. I'm not going to give you a world-class title if you're a world-class player at City. because you are a product
So
of a
Ruben
system.
Diaz isn't world class then.
No, he's a
So
really good center
there's
back.
There's nobody in this defense that's world class. Nobody.
Yeah. I never said that they were
I
world
agree,
class.
I
just said they were good.
Right,
I think
but
it's a
I'm like,
solid unit with good depth who can play a ton of different ways.
But now,
if you want to
can
play
agree
3 in
with
the
me that
back, you can
this
play 3 in the back.
compared to- this compared to other teams, Germany, France, not even.
Well, they're the favorites for a reason. I never said Portugal's the favorite. I just said watch out. I think Portugal's good. And I think that if things fall their way, I think that any given game they can win.
Hold on. Let me make this point. Because I do feel like Portugal are a great team. I do feel that way. I genuinely feel that way. And one big thing for me is, even though Cristiano Ronaldo's older, he's the leader of that team. And he's always put that team on his back, regardless of his age, regardless of whatever's going on with Cristiano Ronaldo. There's times he's been injured. I think the last time they won the Euro, he got injured, actually, had to step out early, and then was on the bench. Was on the bench, just giving him that motivation to win the game. And so I got to give Cristiano Ronaldo a lot of merit in this squad, even though he's 39 years old. And I mean, he is still doing it. Like, I know I'm going to talk crap because the Saudi Arabian league isn't at that level.
You shouldn't give him credit for playing in Saudi Arabia.
But
he's still doing 90 minutes in Saudi Arabia.
Scoring the goals that he's scoring, bro. He had I don't know how many goals he scored. He scored more goals in this year than a lot of players. He's up there. I think he scored more goals than Haaland this season. And again, subpar league, but come on, you got to give that some credit.
Look, you have to score, scoring, not scoring, whatever. He's still doing it. He has 44 goals in all competitions this year.
Yeah. He's
in Saudi Arabia. Massive asterisk. Massive. Right. But still,
But still, he's still doing it, and he's still going to be leading this team. The forwards are also the thing about Portugal. The midfielders, their midfield is the one I literally fall in love with.
Yeah, it's so good. It's
their
great.
midfielder. Their midfield, I can say, as a unit, as an overall, is pretty world class, in my opinion. Because you have Vitinha, who had an amazing season with PSG. Mm-hmm. You got Bruno Fernandes. I think Danilo Pereira has always been really good. I've always really liked him. Mm-hmm. Palhinha, I like the way he moves and plays and controls tempo. And Bernardo Silva is my favorite player, I think, right now, regardless of what you want to say about him being at City.
Good player.
I still think he's an amazing, amazing midfielder. Their defense, I don't like. Their forwards, even though I do give Cristiano Ronaldo a lot of credit, I'm not crazy about their forwards. Diogo Jota is just a super sub. Let's not forget.
Yeah.
Pedro Neto, all right. Gonzalo Ramos, good.
Good.
That's
yeah.
Rafael Leao, great.
Yeah.
Rafael Leao, great. That one I'll be like 100%, but him and Cristiano Ronaldo are the only ones I'm like, okay. That's
the thing. You can put Rafael Leao
their
one-on-one.
Forwards, I feel like, that are good. The forward
Let's remember
is
that
good enough.
Goncalo Ramos is a target man. Let's remember that Goncalo Ramos is a target man.
Right.
Rafael Leao and Cristiano Ronaldo are going to carry the ball forward, and then you just got to get the ball to Ramos.
Gonzalo Ramos hardly ever plays when Cristiano Ronaldo's playing.
Well, yes.
Normally they put him in for Cristiano Ronaldo. And they made a mistake, I think, in the World Cup because they started him over Cristiano Ronaldo because he played one good game. And I think that was the game against Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
And they started Gonzalo Ramos. So Gonzalo Ramos is never going to play. Or
never
he probably no. My mistake. That was a mistake. He isn't going to play while Cristiano Ronaldo's on the field. So it's either going to be him or Ronaldo.
I don't know if that's true. I think that I will totally accept what you're saying.
That's what happened in the World Cup.
That was 2 years ago.
The World Cup.
He was 22.
Who knows?
He's 24 now. Right? It's a different team.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Cristiano Ronaldo is no longer, I don't know if good enough. I don't want to say good enough. Not good enough. Not that
he's not good enough to carry this team.
He's not carry this team,
but he doesn't have to
carry the ball up like that.
No, he
He's
can
not
still
gonna
do it.
make a dribble.
Oh yeah, he can
He's
still
not gonna
do it.
make a dribble. He's not gonna make a
Mhm.
dribble from the midfielder, bro. I highly doubt that.
Oh
He doesn't
yeah.
even do that. He doesn't even do that in Saudi Arabia.
Why
Let
would he in
alone
Saudi Arabia? You don't have to. You don't have
he's not gonna
to.
do it. He's not gonna do it, bro. I guarantee you.
I
He's not gonna
yeah.
drive the ball forward.
Mhm.
No, he's not.
Absolutely.
He's the guy waiting for
First
the
of all,
balls.
he doesn't
He's
need
gonna
to.
have what's gonna happen. I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. They're gonna have Diogo Jota or Joao Felix or Rafael Leao. They're gonna have 2 out of 3 of those guys are gonna play on the wings. They're gonna drive the ball forward,
Yeah, and then
and
okay.
Cristiano Ronaldo's gonna be at the end of it.
Okay, that's
That's
still an
what it is.
excellent unit. Like my thing is this:
Not
is
saying it
Ronaldo
isn't.
can.
Not saying
Let's
it
say
isn't.
Ronaldo plays centrally, moves back centrally. He's not going to play on the wings anymore. Let's say you put Ramos and Leao out wide, right? Like that's the team that you play.
Yeah.
Dude, none of them need to carry the ball forward. Like you have Silva, Fernandez,
Ramos isn't gonna be out wide, man. He's not. He's a target man. You just said it himself.
but he's. I said he's been a target man for Portugal. He has for this team played out wide.
For PSG. He's been also pretty much playing as a forward. I've never seen him. I don't think I've. And again, maybe I'm not biased, but I maybe I'm wrong because I haven't watched.
What I'm saying is
Gonzalo
he
Ramos.
can play out wide. You don't have to. Don't play him out wide if you don't want to play him out wide. Play him
Or if he
centrally.
doesn't do well out wide.
Yeah, like play him centrally. Play him as a super sub. Like there are things that you can do. Like play Joao Felix on the wing. Like I don't hate that either. But
Right.
like what I'm saying is that there are options for this Portugal team to get it done outside of the Cristiano Ronaldo factor, and this being his last hurrah. I think this team is good enough to win the tournament. That's the point. They
Okay.
can do it.
Okay, win the tournament's a little bit of a stretch in my opinion. I'm not saying that they're not definitely one of the contenders, but I just don't see them winning the tournament. Anyway, I want to talk about a team that I also think is going to make a pretty good run and that I really like in the Euros. And that team is Netherlands.
Okay.
I love Netherlands, man. And look, I'm gonna tell you. So, Netherlands, I feel like the only thing that kind of threw me off about the Netherlands is that Frankie's out for the rest of the competition, which is pretty huge. But I like Netherlands. I think Netherlands is another team that will do damage, that will be up there with some of the best. They've got such a good squad, in my opinion. Xavi Simons, I think. Xavi Simons is starting to become one of my favorite players. And right now I still love Bernardo Silva, but Xavi Simons is like right underneath him right now. They've got an amazing defense, man. I mean, they've got Van Dijk, De Virgil, and Ake.
De Ligt.
And then De Ligt. It sucks though. De Ligt has not had a great season with Bayern, but he's still an amazing center back. And so they've got that. Memphis is okay.
He doesn't play all that much for them, I don't think.
They got Gakpo.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wijnaldum still there?
Wijnaldum.
Frimpong?
Look at their whole Frimpong, dude.
Bro,
That guy has
Veerman?
balled out, bro.
Veerman? Like,
Veerman, they have an amazing squad, man, in my opinion. And their midfield isn't great. I like Gravenberch. Their midfield's coming up well because I mean Xavi Simons he's gonna definitely be leading that attacking midfielder role. And then Wijnaldum, who's good. I would say great, but he's right now I'd say more good.
No, yeah. I think
Gravenberch, he's really coming up. He's a midfielder that's young, a lot of energy, and great passing. And then their forwards from Cody Gakpo, who's doing really well for Liverpool. Malen, who had a great season for Borussia Dortmund. I mean, Memphis, Steven Bergwijn. I think that overall they're very well rounded. I have a lot as a Barcelona fan. I have a lot of love for Ronald Koeman as a coach. He didn't impress me too much as a coach, but with the cards that he was dealt, he did the best that he could. But let's I'm gonna say this: when he left for Barcelona, Netherlands was in some of the best form that we've seen them overall. And then Louis van Gaal came in, and Louis van Gaal's really old school, so he kind of. And even then, I feel like they had a good World Cup. I mean, they went up. I don't know if they made it to the semifinals. They lost to the champions. I mean, at the end of the day, and in a very very tight and controversial game, which we won't talk about because me and you are going to disagree. But I think that now that Ronald Koeman's back, they're playing under him and they're doing really well. I mean, look at their last few games and they've played well, man. They're doing good. I feel like they're a team that's definitely going to do damage.
I think they're a team that can do damage.
I think they will. I think they will.
Yeah, I think that's where we disagree. Is I think the problem is like putting it all together at the end. I am not the biggest fan of their like forward group. Like just the way that I look at it is they have a really solid defensive group. Like solid, like really good. Van Dijk, De Ligt, Ake, Van de Ven, Blind, like Dumfries, Frimpong as a wingback, you know, like incredible defensive group. Like you almost don't know who to play. Like I almost want them to play 3 center backs because that's so that they can have them out there. Because like if you're telling me that you have a center back trio,
they probably will
of Van Dijk, Ake, and Van de Ven. Like
Van de Ven, but I don't know if they'll put Van de Ven over Ake because they're both
no center backs. 3 center backs.
They're both left-footed center backs.
So,
well, I don't know.
So, like, but that's
it
my
just
thing.
Depends. It just depends on how you play.
They're so good, and then you come into a midfield that like this is where it gets like weird because it's like midfield forward. Like then you got like let's say you're playing 3 in the back and they just play 4 in the middle. You go Frimpong, Xavi Simons, Reinders, and who's the last one? Let's just say Veerman, Matson, Gravenberg, like whoever, you know. But then who's gonna score? Like Memphis Depay just got cut, you know.
And don't tell me.
Him and Atletico Madrid
he's
just
not old.
No,
I just want to know. He's not old. He's not. He's
Yes,
30, bro. He's 30. He's not old.
He is 30 in age. In football age, he's 39. He's got hard miles on his body. He's got hard miles on his body. It's like Hazard. Hazard's not old, but he's old. Like in football age, because Hazard's 33. But by the end of it, man, he was looking like a 40-year-old. He just couldn't stay healthy. His body couldn't keep. And that's the thing.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
Take out Memphis. Wout Weghorst. And I know he's not the greatest, but he had a hell of a World Cup.
Look,
had a hell of a World Cup.
That is the group that scares me. Because, like, you've got Gakpo.
I understand that.
You've got Gakpo. You've got Weghorst. Like, maybe you play Xavi Simons a little farther up the pitch because you're so good.
What about Malen? What about Malen?
Malen. Like, it's just, like, it's one of those things.
What about Steven Bergwijn?
But that's what I'm saying is like,
Steven
you're saying
Bergwijn
names
great.
of good players. But, like, what I'm saying is, like, when you need a goal, who's going to go score it? And that's where
Brian Brobby, man. Brian Brobby has done really well.
But again, is he the guy who's gonna like put the team on his back to go score? My thing is like I always find it very concerning when the best player that you have on your team is in the midfield or into the defense, or that's like your best group because it's in the end you have to score goals. And how is the Netherlands gonna do that? And this is where I look at it and I go, they're a team that is built in a way that they can do damage.
Here's my response.
Will they is what we're going to see at this tournament.
Here's my response. Depending on how good the midfield can play and feed those just good players, because it is true that they're just good, that's going to determine their factor. I think Koeman is a very big advocate for playing very attacking football. And so I do feel like they are going to attack. And if their midfield can play well enough and feed those just decent forwards that they have, because at the end of the day, they don't have world-class forwards. They don't. But I feel like
what scares me.
They have a good enough midfield and defense to be able to to kind of control the game a little bit in the middle of the pitch, and then have those creative midfielders like Xavi Simmons or Ryan Gravenberch or even Wijnaldum just kind of feed those just decently good guys. If they can find a good stride, if they can unit and play well together, which I feel like so far they have, I think they can, like you said, they can do some damage. We can't guarantee that even Portugal is going to really,
No, we have no idea. Like, this is the thing.
No idea.
Is like there are teams, like, example, this is a perfect example, like the Portugal team. They're built incredibly well. And the reason, like, for example, I like Portugal more than, let's say, is because I don't have that question mark up top with them. Because if you need a goal, Ronaldo's going to score it. Or if it's not Cristiano, it's Leao. Like, I believe in them to go do that.
Leao's their one. In you're saying that in every position they have a main guy
that you're going to look at, and that this guy at this is going to shut it down.
And Netherlands, but all Netherlands is missing is that forward. And I feel like their forwards are good enough. My opinion.
Man City was missing that forward for so long. That's why they hadn't won a Champions League. They finally found a guy that fit into their system, and they went and they did it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can be such a good team missing that one key piece. I think another great example is, like, Real Madrid without Jude. Like, we were missing that. He comes in, it's a completely different team, I love them. I can't believe we've gone almost an hour without talking about them, but we have to.
I get it.
And that's England. We have to talk about this England team because we have been bouncing around because I don't want to have this conversation. I just don't, because I have no faith in this England team.
Check it. Look at this. Look, here's what I'm going to say about England. And I think in the end of our last podcast, I had told you, I think England are favorites.
I know you did. You said it with your chest.
You did make an argument that kind of made me. I just don't. You made a good point as to I don't have any confidence in Gareth Southgate at all.
8 years without a trophy. 8 years.
And I don't know why he's still there. Anyway, listen. Here's what I'll say about England. They, in my opinion, have the best squad of the tournament. In my opinion, I don't know how controversial that statement is, and it might be controversial to you. But I think that
on paper you could say that.
On paper, not them as. I'm not talking about them as a team.
Individually.
Individual talent.
Mm-hmm.
England has the most of, I think, any team.
Yeah.
Maybe, and if not, you could definitely almost compare every one of their players to the top, to the favorites that we've said today.
I think you're right. Here is where I don't like any of their goalkeepers. I don't like Pickford, Ramsdale, or Henderson. I think that they definitely need to figure something out there.
Yeah.
I think that relying on a 34-year-old Kyle Walker is a little bit suspect, but you have Luke Shaw back there as his backup, which I think is a good option. Mm-hmm. And Kyle Walker doesn't suffer from the Man City curse because Kyle Walker was incredible before he got to City. Like when he was with Spurs, he was the best right back in the world. And then he went to 100%. City and continued to be the best right back in the world. So that's why he gets a pass. Kieran Trippier, I think, is a really good, solid option, but I'm worried about him at 33. Playing out there on that left back.
I know I disagree with the goalkeeper. I like Aaron Ramsdale. I feel like he's pretty. He's not great, but he's decent enough to play.
But he doesn't start. Pickford starts over him.
Pickford's good too.
Don't like either of them.
Decent enough.
I don't love the center back pairing of John Stones and Mark Guehi.
What about Joe Gomez? Joe Gomez is great.
But he's not starting for them. Their starting center back pair, Southgate has said this, is going to be John Stones and Guehi. And I'm not a fan of that. And then another move, like this is the problem with England, is that like you were saying, dude, they've got excellent players. We haven't even talked
On
about
paper.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, you know, in that
No.
defensive room.
Yeah.
Like we haven't talked about the midfield rooms of Declan Rice, who has been one of the best CDMs in the world recently. Jude Bellingham, who's if England can win this thing, is probably going to win himself a Ballon d'Or. Phil Foden, who has been really, really good for City, like now prove it outside of City, but like even then is showing that he can play centrally, which is opening up so much for England because now you can play Cole Palmer and
Palmer.
you
Wait,
can
wait,
play Cole Palmer. You can play.
I gotta stop you at Cole Palmer because we gotta talk about him.
Wait, we'll get there. We'll get there. Like Bukayo Saka, like it gives you Ollie Watkins, like it gives you options elsewhere because you don't have to play Foden as a winger. You don't have to play them there. You can play him as a 10.
As a 10.
And that's great. We haven't even gotten to the Kobe Mainu, you know, talking about him, an incredibly promising talent at 19. Go into the forwards, Saka, Kane, Tony, Ollie Watkins, they've got the quality, but
Okay,
the problem is
yeah.
the decision-making from Southgate. Okay, you've got Kyle Walker. He's the best right back in the world. Totally get it. So where are you going to put Trent Alexander-Arnold? Cool. In the midfield? That's the best option for Trent is in the midfield when you've got a really good midfield? So you have to take one of Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, Kobe Mainu, Cole Palmer out of the team to fit Trent in the middle. And Trent can play in the middle. Like, don't get it twisted. He can.
Trent
now-
is in a very Wait, let me say
He's
something about
weird.
Trent.
It's just weird, man.
It's weird
just-
what's going on with Trent because we know he's good. We know he's
Incredible.
great.
Incredible.
We know he can be great, but something's going on with him, man. Like I don't know. I couldn't tell you where to play him right now. He's not solid defensively, so he's
Put him
not
at right
playing
back. That's where he needs to be. Put him at right back and invert him.
He's not solid, but he's not solid defensively. Not over Walker. I wouldn't play him
No,
at
no,
right
no,
back
no.
over Walker.
But that's the thing.
I wouldn't do it.
But that's the thing. Like, okay, if he's
I
not
wouldn't do
good enough to play at right back, that does not.
I
Trent
think
is
he
awesome.
He plays well in a double pivot with Rice. That's what I think.
Okay, cool.
Over
You
Mainu.
do that. Totally get that. But like, remember, Mainu's not starting for this team. That's not where they play. Because you're looking at. I know what you're doing. You're looking at the England versus Iceland game. Like, who's not in that midfield? Jude's not starting in that game. Jude's gonna start.
I get it.
You know what I mean? Like, but there's
I get
the
it.
thing.
He's not starting, but I do feel like
This
he
is the
would
thing.
be good there.
This is the thing. It's a weird system that they're playing in. It's a weird style that they're playing in. And objectively, like the way that they should probably play is that it should be Walker Stones, Guehi, Trippier, Declan Rice, Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, Bukayo Saka, Harry Kane, and then like Cole Palmer on the other wing. Like that might be the best option there. Or you put Foden on the other wing, right? So they're your two forwards. You put Jude Bellingham further upfield in that 10, and then like you put Trent Alexander-Arnold in that midfield, which is what I think they're going to do. That's how I think they're going to play. Is that back four, a double pivot of Trent and Rice, Jude in the 10, Saka at the right wing, Foden at the left wing, and Kane up top. And on paper, that is an excellent team. On paper. But we've seen it time and time again from this England team that, like, in crunch time, when you need a goal, they're going to choke. Harry Kane is the best striker in the world, except when you need him to score a goal.
When you need him. And we saw that in the Champions League.
Saka is a walking injury. He plays too much for Arsenal. So even though the quality of the player is incredible, like Bukayo Saka is a really good player, Phil Foden has been excellent for City, but again, he's going to get hit with the City down mark. Can he prove that he is as good as he is at City outside of City? And he's been playing really well for England. So he might be one of the players that's the exception of the City rule in my eyes. But like again, it's just this team on paper is built to win the tournament. And I have zero faith that they're going to do it. Zero.
Yeah. They time and time again. I mean, I agree with you there. Time and time again, England have just let their own nation. They've let themselves down time and time again. So I do agree that it's just going to be tough to see them. But they do have, and like I said, this isn't a controversial statement at this point. That they do have the best squad of the tournament, arguably.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man. I mean, I agree with you. There's just it's it's very hard for them to overcome that like stump when they need to show up, when they need to be there for the big games. Time and time again, they've just failed at that. So, as much as we can sit here and talk about how great England's players are, Gareth Southgate makes very questionable decisions. Like
Constantly.
it's very upsetting. If I wasn't, and I'm looking at it as if I was an England fan, man, upsetting in my opinion. They need to change coaches. They need to get rid of Southgate, I think, finally.
And they will,
Anyway,
because he's already said that like once they lose out of this tournament that he's going to leave.
yeah, he's out.
Right?
He's out.
I will, before we
out.
go into our brackets, because I do want to get into our brackets really quickly, I think that it would be a
Right.
disservice if we didn't touch on the current winners of it, like who currently hold the trophy, right? Italy. Who won it in 2020. Really quickly, we don't have to go super in depth on it, right? They were able to win it in 2020. Now, a lot of people are going to put an asterisk on that tournament because of the whole COVID year, and I totally understand that. That makes a ton of sense if that's how your stance on it is. How do you feel about that team? How do you feel about the way that they've been built? Do you think that they can run it back and be back-to-back winners? How do you feel about them overall?
Italy. So here's how I feel about Italy, and they're an amazing team. For one thing, I will say they're an amazing team on paper. They've got great, overall, they got a great coach. I have no complaints about Italy, but and I don't know, man. I mean, in the Euros, they always show up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and he's frozen. I will say my bit, when he gets back, we can let him
Let's believe in the Euro.
run it back because you froze up a little bit. While that gets sorted, let me real quick. Let me get into my thing. We'll wait until his.
Can you hear me?
Give it a sec. I'll tell you when you're back, man. I think I'll say this about Italy, and I think it's very interesting. This whole thing with Italy is that the team that is playing this tournament versus the team that played in 2020 is very, very different, because the starting team in the final was Immobile, Insigne, Chiesa up top. Then it was Verratti, Jorginho, Beraglia, Emerson, Chiellini, Bonucci, Di Lorenzo, and Donnarumma. That was their starting team back then. Hey, disconnect and come back in because your camera's frozen. But this Italy team right now is almost completely different. Donnarumma is still in net. Chiesa is the only player that's playing up top from that team that won it there. In the midfield, the only player that's playing in that midfield, is two players, is Jorginho and Barella. And they're good, and they've replaced Verratti with Fratesi, which is, again, Verratti was so incredibly good. Was just so incredibly good. Yes, you are.
Cool.
And so let me finish up real quick.
Yeah.
And then, but like the whole defense has changed. It's Bastoni, it's Calafiori, it's Di Marco, it's Di Lorenzo. And Di Lorenzo is the only player from the 2020 defense that's back. And so there is a lot of that thing where, again, I believe in this team. I think Italy is one of those teams that is a dark horse to win it. But winning in a COVID year might not be the badge of honor that I think that Italy is taking it as. But they're the team I'm most excited to see because they've seen the biggest turnover. Like in terms of like they're the former champions and they've seen the biggest turnover. Now that you're back, go on your Italy rant. Sorry.
So, I hear what you're saying. They do have a well-rounded, great team. I guess my complaint is the wings. I'm not convinced with their wingers. And it's all going to depend on how they play. I haven't seen Italy play too much, so I can't tell you right now. I wasn't impressed with the game against Albania. I did see the highlights for that, but I wasn't very impressed there. Um, I will say this: they have a great coach and they have a great team, and they always. And I was saying this earlier when I froze. Even if they don't qualify for the World Cup, they show up for the Euros.
Yeah.
Almost every year, even when they've lost the Euros before, they've made it really close to the final. Italy are always there in the Euros, man. They are. They're a great team. They're that team to do it. They're especially in the Euros. Maybe not a World Cup team, and I mean they are a good World Cup team too. I mean they've won the World Cup less than a decade ago. Or less than a decade ago, actually less than 20 years ago, I guess you could say. 2006 was the last time they won a World Cup. But Italy are a team that always show up. So I do think that there's one of the favorites for sure. And I genuinely agree that they have a great team with a great coach. And I have no complaints in their team. Though the one thing, like I said, is just the wingers. Chiesa.
He was on that team in
Coming off-
2020. He was the
Chiesa,
starting
I
right
know.
winger for that team in
I
2020.
get it. Chiesa's coming, and I'm not saying Chiesa's not a great winger. What I'm saying is he's coming off of a lot of injury.
Though I get what you're saying. Again, Italy's an interesting team overall because we don't know, we don't know what we're gonna get from them, in this tournament.
Mhm.
But let's not waste any more time.
No,
Kevin,
Let's
you're
get
not
into
going to
the
be
bracket.
able to see this all that well. But the audience can see it right now. Above us is our group stage. You and I, we're just going to go through it and talk about it. And then I'm going to pull up an image of your bracket, then pull up an image of my bracket, and we'll see who we have winning the tournament. I think
Wait,
it's
send
very
me
interesting.
your bracket because I didn't see. Well, anyway, doesn't
Well,
matter.
no, yeah.
Just, let's go into it. Let's get into it.
So I think it's very, very interesting the way that our groups lined up. And the reason I say that is because you have in your groups,
Tell me who
you have in your
compared
group,
to
in
mine.
Group A, you have Germany, Switzerland, Scotland, Hungary. I have the same thing. Group A, we ran it exactly. Group C, and there's a reason I'm skipping Group B, because
Group
this
B.
is, we'll talk about it. In Group C, you and I run it exactly the same. England, Denmark, Serbia, Slovenia. Beautifully.
Fair enough.
But Group B is where we differ. You have Albania coming in fourth, totally agree. Croatia coming in third, totally agree. You have Spain winning it. I have Italy winning it. And
Can you blame me?
no,
Can you
look,
blame
and
me,
I
though?
get it. Spain is a really good squad. And I think that, objectively, coming down to it, I think one of the reasons I put
And I don't blame you for putting Italy as first either. I think my love for Spain more than anything made me put Spain.
I gave Italy, and I did this, and I can admit that this is probably where I'm going to be wrong, because I forgot that the 2020 was the COVID year.
Yeah.
I think that there is something to defending champions coming back and winning it. There's something to that. And I gave them the
100%,
edge
100%.
because of that. So
I think I gave Spain the edge because I like them as a team. I like the way that they play, but I could be wrong there. It could go either way. I think the Spain and Italy game is going to define who's going to be first in that group for sure.
yeah. By the way, I sent you
Moving
my
on.
my bracket just so
Great.
you're aware. And then
Awesome.
Group D, we agree, top to bottom. France first, Netherlands second, Poland third, Austria fourth. Makes sense. And then Group E, Belgium, Ukraine, Slovakia, Romania, we both agree there. And then in Group F, again, total agreement. I don't like this. I don't like it when we agree. It's boring.
Right.
But this is where we differ. This is the
But our
teams
bracket
making
overall
it
is
in the
different.
third place. Because you have Scotland, Croatia, Serbia, and Austria. And I have Croatia, Serbia, Poland, and Slovakia.
Okay.
So I have a question.
Wait. Let me say a quick thing about Austria.
Yeah.
They're a team that's starting to come up a little bit. I'm not saying nothing about it. It's Austria. Ralph Ragnick has had them play more impressive football than we've seen Austria play in a long time. And I do genuinely feel like they're gonna be a good third place group in that or a good third place team in that group D.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting where we
know.
disagreed there, because like you have Scotland going through. I don't.
You think Poland will be third over Austria? I just don't see. I don't. There's not a lot in Poland that I see that impresses me. And Austria, I feel like has impressed me a little more in the last few games. I did some research on Austria. I did some research on this whole thing before I went in and did my bracket. Blindly, I would have picked Poland. Blindly, I would have picked Poland. But because I did my research and I saw that Austria under Ralph Ragnick has done a little better, that's why I picked.
My concern with Austria, and I get that because I did too. I did my research, is that this would be. They haven't done it at a tournament yet. This would be the first time.
100%.
And that's where I was
all,
like,
I just kind of did it
iffy.
blindly. I just feel like Poland is never really. Poland is always. To me, Poland's just a disappointment.
They lose in the first round.
And I feel like if Austria can play well, they can overcome that hurdle against Poland and maybe tie one of the either France or Netherlands. And they'll make it. That I think they can get that third spot, man. And that's just how I feel like about Austria. And this might be a completely blind just guess here, but from what I looked at, that's why I picked them third. I just feel like they're playing more impressive football under Ralph Ragnick, and that's my reasoning for that one.
So now on screen is your bracket. We see your bracket entirely, and I want you to just go through quickly. We don't need a whole lecture on every game. Why do you have Team A beating Team B, and how do we end up here? How do we end up in this situation? You don't have to go through the round of 16 really quickly because the people aren't going to be able to see this. Or I'll make it available. The round of 16, you have Italy beating Switzerland. Makes sense. England beating Austria. Makes sense. France beating Turkey. Makes sense. Belgium beating Croatia. Makes sense. The Netherlands beating the Ukraine. Portugal beating Serbia. Germany beating Denmark. Spain beating Scotland. There is not a single matchup there where I go, why? Why that team beating this team? So we don't have to go into that.
The quarterfinals is where you're going to question me hard.
The quarterfinals is where the bracket really kicks up, especially at the Euros. So explain yourself. Spain over Germany, Portugal over the Netherlands, France over Belgium, and Italy over England.
I'm a big advocate for the Netherlands. So that one I was very iffy, man. I really wanted to pick the Netherlands there, but I just feel like because I think Portugal have that better midfielder and they have those better goal scorers, like you said, I did pick them over that. Spain and Germany, that's a game that could go either way. That one, I just picked my love over Spain because I do feel like Germany and Spain kind of hit off in terms
That's
of
a hard
level.
pick.
It's a hard pick. It could have gone. That game can go either way. I know for sure that it's a questionable pick to pick Spain. I did it because I love Spain. I'm gonna say that right now. It's a very biased pick.
Let me ask this follow-up question with the Spain game. If Germany, let's say we flip it, Germany wins, does it change anything else in your bracket, or you just have Germany go all the way and win it?
No. Germany would go all the way if Germany wins that. I think whoever wins that game, I just don't see Portugal overcoming Germany or Spain to go to the final.
Makes a sense. Portugal over the Netherlands, fun. That makes sense, like you said. France over Belgium.
Come on. Belgium's a great team. Are they good enough to beat France? Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Totally agree.
Easy. That's
Italy
easy.
over England. Getting our English friends upset early. They don't even make a semi. They get knocked out in the quarterfinals. Explain yourself.
It's, again, the thing about England choking in big games, and this is a big game here. And Italy are very solid defensively, and Italy does show up for those games, whereas England doesn't.
Makes sense. We're on to the semis. Spain and Portugal. You have Spain. You have Spain topping Portugal.
That's also a tough one. I think this one's just going to be overall. Who's controlling the tempo of the game. But I do feel like Portugal's defense is a little weak, and I feel like Spain could exploit it. That's also a controversial choice there. Again, my love for Spain. It could. I'm not saying at all that Portugal can't beat Spain, but I think that Spain with Portugal's defense could overcome Portugal just because their defense I just feel like has some leaks.
Totally
So,
understand. France over
with the
Italy.
speed, yeah.
France over Italy.
Italy's good, not France good.
They're not better
I
than
love Italy, and I think that it's going to be a hell of a game if it does happen that way. I think it's going to be a hell of a game because France and Italy's always there's a rivalry there. And we can go back to the 2006 World Cup and that header from Zidane to I don't remember the Italian guy's name, but there's a rivalry there. So I feel like that's going to be a great game. But yeah, France, I mean, they just got the quality. And I think Mbappe will overcome that tight defense that Italy's going to play. And I don't see Italy having such a good enough offense to overcome France because France have a good defense. So
look, makes sense.
Easy
I get it. And then Spain over France in the final. Is that a heart pick, or do you believe that?
That's a hard pick. I don't actually believe that. I love Spain. Don't think they'll overcome France. Heart pick right there.
All right. Really quickly, going to run through my round of 16 just so you guys can see it. It'll be right here if you guys want to watch it. Italy over Slovakia, Germany over Denmark, Portugal over Serbia, the Netherlands over the Ukraine, Belgium over Croatia. That's the only one that might be a little controversial is Belgium over Croatia. I just think Belgium is overall built better. France over Turkey, England over Poland, and then Spain over Switzerland. And then we move into my brackets, which I think is going to have a lot of people scratching their heads a little bit.
Okay, wait. The first one, Italy over Germany. Explain yourself there. I got to hear this one.
I love this German team, and I think that this German team is really good. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't have an explanation for it. But there is this gut feeling of Germany's missing something. I don't know what that something is. I can't put it into words. The best example I can give you is, remember earlier on in this year when we were talking about Arsenal, and I kept telling you, dude, I don't know what it is, but they're not passing my eye test. They're good. They're doing their thing, but they're just not passing my eye test. There's something off about Arsenal. They're not going to win the league. And I kept saying it, and then I was right. And what we discovered, you and I, what we discovered later is that the thing that wasn't passing the eye test was the fact that they were getting most of their goals off of set pieces. That's what was happening at the time. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't able to put that into words.
And that's when I sent you that video. That's when I sent you that video, and you said, "Yeah,
there it is." And it clicked. There is something missing about this Germany team. I don't know what it is, but there is something that, for me, I just don't. Again, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't put it into words. And it's the same reason why I don't know, internally, why I think Italy's got it, why they can.
Yeah. I think so too.
There's a thing where
Italy definitely has something that Germany doesn't, and I do agree with you there.
See, I don't even know if it's that. It's just a different something. I don't know.
Anyway, so
moving on. Portugal over the Netherlands.
Portugal, Netherlands. I mean, me and you agree.
Same thing there.
Same thing.
They've got a finisher. The Netherlands don't. France over Belgium. I think that kind of is self-explanatory. France is arguably the best team in the world.
And you think England over my Spain?
Yes, I think England is a better team.
You think
overall.
England beats Spain?
Yes, because I think
that's a fair statement.
I think England beats Spain at every single position when in terms of quality. There isn't a player on Spain that I would take over the player on England.
Yeah, but then
the only one that would legitimately give me a hard time is Rodri and Declan Rice.
Just consider this before it's not going to change your pick. Your pick's going to be the same. But consider this. I think Spain collectively play better than England. Their players, England's players are better. England's players are better.
I gave it to individual talent.
But Spain collectively plays better than England.
Yeah, I gave the individual talent the nod here. Going into the semis, Portugal, Italy. Again, I think Portugal's got it. I think that they've got the midfield unit to go win.
You think
Yeah.
they overcome Italy?
I think
don't know,
that
man.
they're
That's a
built
tough
to
pick.
overcome Italy. Italy as
So,
a defensive unit is so incredible, but when you get going forward, when you've got Ronaldo and Joao Felix and Leao and Fernandez and Silva, like when you have these guys coming at you wave after wave, like I don't see how Italy stops that. And Italy's a great team. I'll say this. I think whoever wins this game wins the tournament. In this semi, if it breaks out this way, whoever wins this game wins the tournament. And then France versus England.
Really?
France knocks out England. This is revenge for hundreds and thousands of
That's
years
easy,
of them
huh?
at war. Another war. England out in the semis. At least I sent them to the semis, right? At least I had the audacity to do that.
Right.
And again, I spent
with-
all this time
so-
arguing France earlier because I think that they're a
So-
good team.
Right.
But
But you pretty much have the same Euro that Portugal won in the past. I don't think. I don't
think
know.
here's the
I
thing.
don't see Portugal
If
overcoming
Portugal
France.
if Portugal makes it to the final, Cristiano's not going to lose this final. This is a statement game. Here's the thing. Portugal needs to get Cristiano to the final. That's what they need to do. Get him to the final.
Getting him to the final is a lot harder.
Oh,
than-
yes. Dude, look at the path that they have to go through. It's not easy. These are a lot of winnable games, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, in the group stage, they can beat Serbia. They can beat the Netherlands. They can beat Italy. You know? It's not like if they had run into England in the middle of the bracket or France in the middle of the bracket, I don't know if I would have changed it. But what I will say, and then we'll wrap it up, is this.
Yes.
Is that if Portugal can get Ronaldo to the final, Ronaldo's going to make up for the fact that he missed the last Euro. Not missed, but, like started it, got injured, and had to be the second coach. That is the X factor for Portugal. If they can get to the final, Cristiano will finish it. That's how I look at it.
That's a fair statement. I feel like that's a lot of heart coming, like you said, like with me with Spain. I feel like that's you speaking out of the heart for your love of Cristiano Ronaldo.
See, and it's not even that. Cristiano's from Portugal.
know, man.
I don't like Portuguese people. I'm from Brazil. I don't
know,
like the Portuguese.
I get
You know
it.
what I mean? But it's just a thing of it's either going to be in that flip, anyone can win
last
it.
hurrah type.
That's
deal.
my thing.
I
It's
hear
the
what you're saying.
story that's driving that ambition. It's
Mm-hmm.
the story of saying, if Cristiano makes it to his final in a Euro for Portugal, a team that hadn't won anything before he got there, won their first Euro with him on the bench because he got hurt, like the storyline of him coming back and winning it, like that's running through his head. Because this is probably the best Portugal team he's ever played with, in my opinion. Like, ever. And so, that's that. Guys!
Hey, guys, thank you so much for joining us here. And
Hanging out.
make sure you subscribe to the channel. We've had a lot of fun talking about the Euros, and we're going to make more content as the Euros go on, talking about, this game, that game, the groups, all that good stuff. So make sure you subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think in the comments.
We're going to be doing episodes, especially with the Euros and stuff going on. We're going to try to get it at the end of every, round of games. So, this is going to be the first round of games, and then we're going to talk about them so that we can so it's not just, Albania played, or Italy played Albania and this and this. We're going to try to keep it relevant, but we don't want to swarm you with Euro content. It's going to be some other stuff. There are moves still happening.
There's Copa America content as well that we got to get into.
Players being bought and sold while they're competing for their countries. It's happening.
That's another thing.
Things are happening, but we're very excited.
We're very excited, and thank you guys again for just sticking to it to the end. Peace.